My guest, Sophie Wilson. Hello, Sophie. Nice to meet you. We've never met before, so tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it you do, Sophie?
So, hi, Graham. Lovely to meet you. So, I run Tuesday Media, and we are a PR and marketing agency specializing in telling stories for positive change making clients. And that essentially means working with them to understand what's unique and special about them, what their own unique story is, because it's the most powerful thing that everybody owns, and then plotting that into a strategy and telling that story and those stories on different platforms, whether that be in the press. Mostly, I think we're quite well known for getting very strong media coverage and our relationships with journalists, whether that's social media, content, SEO, digital PR, inbound marketing, that sort of thing.
There you go. So there's a lot of synergy between what you do and what I do. Where did it start for you? I mean, I did a post this morning. I don't know whether you saw it, my little poll that I do every morning. This morning, I started by saying journalism is dead, and asking the question, do people think journalism is dead? It's interesting, some of the comments. If you haven't read it, do go and have a look. But I started life as a journalist. Where did you start?
Oh, gosh. Well, firstly, I haven't read your post because I've been very boringly having to sort out car insurance today because I'm buying an orange Jeep. But I will participate in that kind of interesting, controversial conversation. I actually started life, I did an English lit degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, writing was kind of the love of my life, really. But I ended up taking a good graduate job in broadcasting and in media. So I've always worked in broadcast, albeit client side, in-house, as a kind of sales and marketer in B2B broadcast technology. So I spent half my career really understanding what clients need to do. They need to make money, make sales, articulate what they do, which was especially kind of challenging in a very technical industry that involved satellite broadcast, ingest, play out. So it was a fabulous job, and I worked with broadcasters all over the world, got to travel a lot. I got to set up a radio station on the Gaza Strip. And
wow.
Peace Initiative, which was very cool, and worked with the UN, their radio station. So I did lots of international broadcasting and doing deals and working with clients and doing marketing. And then I had a very big experience in that role. When I was 25, I kind of became de facto MD of this business and built and recruited a sales team, built a marketing team, rebranded the business, and acquired a television company. So we went from being a radio broadcast services company to a television company. The company sold. I didn't actually get a slice of that pie because I'd gone from girl to woman there, and there were 3 men running it. And it was very challenging at that young, sweet age to kind of get what I was, be recompensed for my hard work.
Yeah, but I know what you were entitled to, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard work, but it was a huge business experience for me at a very, very young age of 25. So after that, I actually decided, right, I'm going to move into another area of media. So I moved into working in Soho, and it was still in kind of media logistics, working with ad agencies, post houses, broadcasters, but really working for a software company that moved adverts from A to B to get them on TV or on the radio. Okay. So again, very technical. I got experience developing software products and marketing them and PRing them, which was my favorite thing, was working with PR agencies and kind of creating campaigns, launching products, rebrands, building websites, all of that stuff. Shall I go on? Because this is there's a little bit more.
Well, I'm fascinated. I'm sure people listening at home are fascinated as well. But then it is my kind of area. So no, do carry on.
Okay, so at the grand old age of 30, I had a bit of a midlife crisis and decided to go to India, inspired by the book Eat, Pray, Love. And I spent a year kind of writing, essentially. So I wrote about the journey I was on. I posted it on LinkedIn, and I was surprised by how many comments I got from people that were really inspired by my writing. And I spent the whole year trying to sort of focus on this one question that I think it's quite commonly known now in business circles. But, what is it that I love? What can I give to the world? And what can I make money from? And where I think it's a Japanese concept, I think, but there's an intersection of those three things.
What is your massive transformational purpose?
Exactly. And I just thought to myself, I think it came to me in the back of a tuk-tuk actually in Cambodia. I was like, I want to tell stories, story. Plato said those who tell stories rule the world. And that was my first love in whatever format, So big, grandiose idea. I got back to the UK, to London, where I'd started my career, and realized that people were using that, starting to adopt that term in branding circles. So I set myself up as a consultant. This was back in 2013. Won my first client that was a FTSE 250. They'd actually acquired the broadcast business. And I spent 2 years doing that very successfully, going to Atlanta to set up the brand and the business and all the assets for a new software company. And then I had a very life-changing experience, which I'll describe briefly. But a very good friend of mine was traveling in Malaysia. He was backpacking. He was inspired by my trip. And I got a phone call one Friday night from one of our mutual friends saying he'd gone for a walk in Malaysia and he'd never come back, and he'd been missing for 5 days. So we just kicked into action, really, and created a sort of reactive emergency press campaign. And I was elected spokesperson, and we just started to issue press releases every half an hour, and we had Sky News at my house. And within half an hour, I think I probably took about 250 broadcast interviews in the next couple of weeks. Was on Good Morning Britain with Susanna Reid. All of the things you do, to when you love somebody, to kind of get them back. And unfortunately, it was a sad end to the story, but we did find him. And that was a very difficult period of my life, but it was really life-changing because I kind of stepped back from it, and the media campaign had created worldwide coverage. The story was top of the media agenda for a couple of weeks all over the globe. People from India and Australia were contacting me. We had numerous high-profile people tweeting about it. And we actually got the then Prime Minister, David Cameron, to get the then Foreign Minister, Philip Hammond, to fly to Malaysia to put in place an international search and rescue effort. So the media campaign was extraordinary. And I think without that, we would never have brought him home. But it was obviously a sort of point in my life, that could have destroyed me. But I decided at that point, wow, the mainstream media is extremely powerful, and it can move mountains, it can move governments if you know how to work with it. Because it is also a beast, and it can also, as I'm sure you know from your time as a journalist, it can also eat you up and be horrible, So I'd sort of had both sides of the coin, the power and having that narrative that we'd created, but then the backlash and the paparazzi and the trolling and all of those things. So long story short, I used that experience to kind of propel me into a top job at a top London agency, working for a newspaper editor. Stayed there for 4 years, got fabulous experience on national and global campaigns, working with all sorts of brands and consumer brands, news-oriented stuff, met a load of journos, made contacts with Fleet Street. And then I decided I wanted to stop making rich men richer. So I set up Tuesday 5 years ago this month. So we are 5.
Fantastic. I have to ask you, why Tuesday?
We're actually named after a Rolling Stones song about a wild that couldn't be tamed. Ruby Tuesday.
There you go. Are you a music lover? Has music kept you sane throughout all of your life?
I think writing keeps me sane, but I'm very much a music lover. Used to sing in a band in Liverpool in the 90s, and I play the piano, and I mean, music's just medicine, isn't it? It's amazing.
It is. It is. Good. Do you know what? It is absolutely amazing how many similarities there are between us. We really do need to catch up outside of this sometime. It's amazing. But it's lovely listening to your story. It's lovely listening to the sort of undulation and just how you got to where you are. And I think it's always wonderful hearing that backstory. So you're, in a way, you're an embodiment of what it is that you're doing. Yes, for other people, because and it's what I talk to people about as well. I always say, when people ask me about social media and they ask me about, what should we be posting and what we should be doing, the thing that annoys me immensely, especially on LinkedIn, is people that say, on Monday you should post about this, on Tuesday you should post about this, etc. You think, well, why would you do that? Because if everybody does that, you'll all be posting the same thing. People should be talking about what they are doing, and if you're not doing anything, then get out there and do stuff, because your activity should be your content.
Yeah.
And you're living testament to that. Your story there, I was transfixed. I'm sure other people listening to this throughout the day will be transfixed by that story. And it says so much about you, and it says so much about what it is that impassions you and why people should want to work with you. Yeah. And if people can get their stories out there, what is it that's made them do this? What is it that's brought them to this point? Then that's the buy-in. That's the sale right there. You don't have to use horrible marketing language all of the time. You just have to explain to people why you're trying to change the world, why you want to take people with you, why why things could be better if you work together. And that's a wonderful thing. So all congratulations to you along that journey. I mean, you talked about some amazing experiences and some great learning opportunity. Was there a funny moment along your career path where you had to do something media wise which almost seemed quite ludicrous? I mean, I can remember one afternoon for Children in Need, standing on the metro in Newcastle, going round and round and round with Mr. Blobby, interviewing people. Have you got anything like that in your back catalogue?
Oh gosh, Mr. Blobby, wow, what a throwback. I mean, there's so many. I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's a lot of comedy alongside these kind of high intensity media moments. I mean, I'm just trying to think of one that's suitable. We did have a really hilarious, I mean, it was actually a very sad story, but a hilarious outcome. We used to work for many years, actually. We worked for a skincare brand called Balmain's. I actually happen to still have one of their I'm still doing PR for them now, even though we're not actually in contract with them right now. But it's an 100% natural product for people with eczema and problem skin. It's owned by Andrew Gerry, the co-founder of Lush and the chair of Hotel Chocolat. So we worked with them for many years, and we do a lot of case study work where we interview people who've had a transformational experience with a product. So it might be a consumer product, but it might be a business product as well. And obviously that's where the kind of experiences that I've had of the media and dealing with the media and dealing with journalists comes in quite handy. And you have to have compassion, because it's people allowing themselves to be exposed in the media. It is quite a big deal. And, I always make sure that everybody is fully prepared and they know what to expect and everything else. But we dealt with a lady who'd actually taken in a cat that had been thrown out of a car, and the poor cat was paralyzed. Its back legs were paralyzed, so it sort of dragged itself along on its front legs, and it had a sore that had got infected, and the only thing that had helped it was one of the Balmain's products. And we thought this was a great story, and obviously the media always loves pet stories, particularly Metro. So I sent one of my creative directors down there to do a photo shoot. And the main brief I gave him was this lady had made a little pair of leather trousers for the cat. And I had said, shoot the cat in the trousers and get a picture of the cat in the trousers, because I just thought the tabloids are going to love that, you know.
Yeah.
Because we always have to find an angle. And he spent the whole day with this lady, and he was a cat lover himself. And when he came back, he did not have a shot of the cat in the trousers. And I just remember being infuriated and like shouting across the office, "You didn't get the cat in the trousers!" And everybody kind of just staring at me like I was some kind of maniac. So that's one that sprang to mind. But yeah,
oh my word. It's like a scene from one of those American movies where like the underdog is a you know journalist, and they're going, I want to go out there and I want to, you know, do some serious journalism, and the editors go, "Just get the cat in the trousers." This is what the people want.
But it's true. I mean, I was at a media event a few months ago, and I mean, I shouldn't mention the S asterisk N in on a sort of mainly Liverpool community, but the Northwest editor was talking about the fact that, you know, he'd had a story about a family purchasing Haribo on holiday, or thinking it was Haribo and getting home and realizing it was Rude Bits shaped jellies, you know, in like, and that was a story, you know, and everybody in the room laughed. And he said, well, yeah, but you all laughed. And that's what journalists want. We want a reaction. We want a response. Yeah, and that's what you're all buying. So he said, you might laugh, but that's what everybody's clicking on. So it is a fascinating debate, and I will definitely comment on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the term, you know, never work with children and animals. But I say, yeah, but actually in social media, always work with children. You know, always work with something that, you know, people can gravitate towards, because, and I think that's part of it now that we have a broader output for journalism. You know, I think what we're seeing with the rise of social media, etc., is that what people are looking for day in, day out, is they're looking for something that appeals, you know, cross-sector, appeals to the masses, to bring people in. And it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with specialism. There's nothing wrong with having your little niche area and taking people down a niche path, because actually that's where potentially you get your clients from. But you have to understand that there's circles around that in terms of taking people down into that niche, you know. And, you know, if people want to bring people in, you've got to find the hook that everybody can relate to. And sometimes I read people's content on LinkedIn in the mornings, but you probably do as well, and then you go, wow, that will appeal to two people. You know, it's like newsletters. When LinkedIn launched newsletters, or you know, they turned their article thing into newsletter thing. We suddenly saw a proliferation of newsletters all over LinkedIn, and people were doing like how to do query tables in Excel the good way. And you think, yeah, I really want to subscribe to that as a newsletter. My one's called Sausage Dogs Are Cute, by the way. That's really well subscribed to, because quite frankly, you know, everybody loves a sausage dog, don't they? I don't know where he's gone at the moment, but you know, but you know, you can bend things, can't you? At the end of the day, you can segue in the bits that you want to talk about, but let's find something that's going to at least pique people's interest.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head earlier when you were talking about, you know, what we do and what we're really good at. You know, we can work with channels. You know, we can work with TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, journalism, good journalism, all sorts of outlets and channels. But really, the skill is the story, and everybody has one, and it's unique. It's the only thing people can't copy. You know, to some degree, people can copy technology, ideas, methodologies, but no one can copy your personal, unique story. And people are interested in that. They're not interested in a 52-word sentence full of industry lingo on your website saying what you do. They want to know why you do it. They want to know your journey, your story, and what makes you get out of bed in the morning. And that's why we tend to work with people up front. We do a month really diving into that story and understanding our clients intimately, and then putting together a blueprint that we can just repurpose and use across awards writing, social media, to just reinforce the same message. But it's that job of work up front of understanding and articulating the story that I think we're really good at.
Yeah, and it's so important. I'm doing a piece of work up this Friday with an organisation about what is their massive transformational purpose. And do you think that a lot of organisations haven't even got to that point when they meet you as well? They kind of all sit around thinking they know what the business is about, but actually the communication hasn't actually happened between them as a group to say. And I've been in a room with people at high level in a business doing that, where we've gone on retreat and we've sat there and we've gone, right, let's start off by what's our massive transformational purpose? What are we bringing to the world? And the 6 members of the higher management and the board are all sitting there, and you've got 12 different answers on the board, and then you're going, oh, we thought we knew what we were all about, but we really didn't. And it's helping people bring that together, isn't it? Finding that common ground.
And I think people are always surprised by that, because that is exactly the exercise that we start with. We have a story building workshop that we pretty much insist that all clients do, unless they have a brief, and a very, very tight brief. Most clients don't. And they, so we've got this solution, and that is kind of the first exercise we do. And even co-founders who've been working together forever, they will both articulate their business in a very different way. And it's that first piece is kind of clarity. So gathering everybody's ideas and everybody's thoughts, and then coming to a consensus, which is often very difficult when you've got technical people and salespeople and creative people and people who are together as business partners precisely because they're very different. They will often have very different views on that. So that's what we work on to begin with. Absolute clarity, absolute buy-in, because I've been in the game for nearly 20 years now, and I know how everybody thinks, or maybe not everybody, but I've worked in plenty of businesses where many people think that they can all have an opinion on marketing down the line when things have been decided.
And you just know it doesn't work.
Yeah, but if you get everybody on point from day one and involved and clear and agreeing, then you can move forward, and you don't have to deal with any of the silly buggers down the line where people are trying to play with logos and images and strapline. No, it's agreed. We have our brand book. We all bought into this process. We all created it together. And then, of course, it's consistency, isn't it? It's consistency and it's cut through. So that's my 4 C's that I get.
I love that.
To achieve
4 C's. If anyone wants a copy of Sophie's 4 C's, she'll gladly give them to you. And people can find you on all social platforms, let's just say as well, because I know you stalked me and found me on all social platforms as a sort of pre-runner to this, so I can contest to that, which is good. I was really watching. I was watching to see. That's really good. Now, tell me about Move. You're also involved in Move. How did you come across Move?
How did I come across Move? Good question. I know. So yes, it was an introduction from one of my partner clients. So Liam Quirk from Quirky Digital. We've been working together now for, I think, nearly a year. And we took Liam and his team through our story building process, and we've really, they have an amazing story. If you don't know about Quirky Digital, look them up. But Liam was 22 years old when he started the business from his mum's box room, and we really are, and now has a very young team, a very successful business. And our remit really for them has been getting them awards to sort of show the world, give them the recognition they deserve. And they've just won the Liverpool Chamber of Commerce Innovation Award for New Business of the Year. Liam's been listed in 30 under 30, and he was shortlisted as well for awards last year with the Echo. So Liam actually recommended Andrew that I meet Andrea and Mark, and then we met last year because, of course, we all dressed up, and the men wore the tuxes and we wore our lovely red carpet dresses. So I met Andrea and Mark then. Apologies, is that me that's got WhatsApp up? Yes, I will get rid of that. It's not very media ready, is it?
It's fine. We're quite relaxed on this show. I have to apologise. My phone went off earlier, and it never goes off because it's normally on silent. It's back on silent again now. Someone's touched my phone this morning, so apologies. Yeah, exactly. They're in trouble. Carry on.
Yeah, it was a mutual. It was an introduction from Liam, who highly recommended Mark and Andrea. I met them both. I thought their story was fascinating in the sense that they met during lockdown online, founded this community. Their whole journey is fascinating. So hopefully we will be doing some work with them too. But I've been a member of Move Community probably since around last Easter time. And I also joined Move Elite, which is kind of a little bit more where our business is sitting now. So we are in that kind of ambitious growth phase, and I attend monthly retreats. I'm going to one on Thursday where I work with other business members, other business leaders, to kind of work through the challenges that face us and network and hear from some really inspirational speakers. So it's been fantastic to be part of a supportive community, capitalize on the connections and the experience within it. I mean, I've already taken on an IFA, Chris Drew from Endeavour, through Move, and had lots of interesting conversations that will probably bear fruit. So this is for another time because I know we're short on time, but I'm a relative newcomer back to Liverpool, and being part of the Move community has really helped me make connections that are useful and raise our profile. So it's been fantastic.
Do you think it's a very needed thing in the current climate, a support group for business owners? I mean, there's, to me, I kind of rallied against going to Move online to begin with, because I sat through the whole of the pandemic going, I hate online networking. I even broadcasted about it. So I really hate it. It's horrible. Why are people doing this nonsense? And then I found with Move, Scott, it was that invited me to Move originally, and I was, let's say, a little bit dubious that this could be different, but it was different in that it was, for me, a support group rather than people trying to, do their 30-second elevator pitches for an hour and driving me bonkers. And do you feel that's a fair sort of overview of what Move actually offers?
I do. I mean, I think we all went through a weird few years. I don't think we've all come out of the pandemic mindset completely. I mean, I myself was chronically ill with long COVID for nearly 2 years. And, it's lonely. Being a business owner is lonely. So to have that network, to have that community, to have that support, and it is very supportive. It's solutions oriented. There's a WhatsApp group that you can reach out to at any point for just, does anybody know a designer on this, or an IFA, or whatever? But it's very much that kind of mutual peer-to-peer support. And I think, yes, we're all living with an element of hybrid now, and we've all got used to it. But that's fine. I think having that, for me, that monthly discipline of sitting down and going through the methodology that we use in Move Elite really helps me to solve problems quickly and have accountability that you don't otherwise get unless you're paying or you have other board members. So I'd highly recommend it. And I need to speak to Scott as well, because I've never met him in person, but I've got a referral for him. So
there you go. And being me, that's now going to be cut out, re-cemented in a nice little package and put out across the internet before we know it this afternoon. So getting those little sound bites is where it's absolutely at.
Yeah,
well, it's almost like you did. but you didn't, which makes it even more genuine and authentic. Sophie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for giving me your time. If people want to get hold of you, you're, as I say, you're everywhere. Not literally, but virtually. Where is the best place for people to come and find out about Tuesday Media?
Well, just obviously our website, tuesday-media.com. Also, we are active on all networks. So LinkedIn, connect with me, connect with Tuesday Media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whichever's your preference. We'll get back to you.
That's brilliant. Now, this hasn't been the last of Move TV for today, because later today we have coming up Mark and Andrea, who we have been speaking about. We're talking to the man who invented FreeServe, then sold it for an awful lot of money. And we're talking an awful lot of money. We're not talking, 10 quid down the pub. So if you want to stay tuned and find out more about that, the link is in the Move Business page, or is on the Move Business page. So do follow us on the Move Business page. Find the link. As Mark and Andrea talk to Ajaz later this afternoon, that is definitely one you will not want to miss, because that guy clearly knows a thing or two about marketing. And I think any of us that are involved within the sector will be all ears on that. And you can ask live questions as well. Okay. So stay tuned for that later. But for now, Sophie, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. And this has been Move TV. Bye for now.